This is our OLBG match preview. We're previewing the very first game of the EPL new season that kicks off on Saturday afternoon. We're looking today at Manchester United, who are at home to Tottenham. Always an eventful game. I think a lot of you remember the Pedro Mendes goal a few years ago that was disallowed. Roy Carroll crawled off the line, and many Spurs fans felt very hard done by. But it's usually an interesting affair, and obviously with plenty of Spurs players going on to play for Manchester United, there's a lot of familiar faces in the lineup. I'm delighted to say I'm joined by a familiar face. It's our OLBG resident hangout member. Good evening, Gio.
Hello, Sam. How you doing?
Yeah, really well. Looking forward to your insight on this game. It's always tough at this point in the season. So I suppose first place to start is if we weigh up the two teams. Spurs haven't been too busy in the transfer market, whereas Manchester United have been the complete opposite. Does that affect your thinking, given it's the first game of the season?
A wee bit. Obviously, you'd expect Spurs to have more rhythm, more flow, if you like, and the team should be well bonded. I think Tottenham maybe went through this literally 12 months ago when Pochettino was trying to get to know his players, if you like. But as I said, Man U done a lot of transfers, but I do wonder how many will start on Saturday, to be honest with you. I don't think there'll be that a great deal on the field when we kick off the season.
Well, it's going to be a different shape to United, we think, than last year. Van Gaal's had the time to invest in his team. He made some very early signings in the transfer window, and has indicated he's not done yet. Alongside the star names coming in, if you like, with Brian Sliver, you've got proven Premier League players in Schneiderlin, and you've got obviously an interesting signing in the Dutch player. It could be anything, I suppose. We're displaying the odds at the moment. On first glance, you'd say Spurs probably look a little bit overpriced, but I don't think their record is going to stand them in good stead to be supported in this kind of market, is it?
No, you're right enough about that. I mean, they do look a touch overpriced there, though. I think they are maybe the value. I'm not saying I don't expect Tottenham to win, but I think if I was having a punt on that game, I'd be looking for value. But Tottenham, as you'll talk about in a bit, Tottenham are playing two friendlies this week, and they've just not long finished their first one tonight, and they played their first 11, which surprised me a wee bit. Did that surprise you, Sam?
Yes, massively. I appreciate that football's a European global game. But the teams they're in that tournament with have probably got another week or two on them with regards to their league starting. Spurs are going to have to really be, up on the pace. The Premier League doesn't wait for anybody, and I think if I have to assess them for a season's chances, I don't think they'll get sick. I think they're going to really struggle this year. And I don't say it in a way because I don't want Spurs to do well. I just can't see it. One man who can, however, is I just looked through the OLBG app, and Dan Bradley's calling, so he's surprised that United is so short given recent poor record at Old Trafford. I mean, since Ferguson's left, I suppose that's arguably perhaps not yet factored into their prices. And he was not been too impressed by United over pre-season. I've watched a little bit of them. They definitely seem like a work in progress, but as unimpressive as you may feel they've been, I think Dan maybe is wrong in the sense that Spurs haven't torn up any trees in pre-season either.
Yeah, I try not to look too much into pre-season friendlies. I guess I just know from watching my own team, West Ham, that sometimes the results can be a bit misleading and people don't look into the lineups too much. I try and stay away, but obviously, like everyone else, I have a glance at them. But I stole Tommy, remember T. Buckley, I stole his stats from the OLBG forum for this one because they interest me a lot in that Tottenham had the worst record in head-to-head within the top six last season. And away from home in the 5 games against the top 6 teams, they conceded 14 goals, so just under 3 a game, which is that not alarming for you, though, Sam?
Yeah, and I mean, the head-to-head record, I think Man United X-Stats has written on the site that they've won 8 out of the last 10 head-to-head at home. They're not probably going to be getting away with too much, I think, here. And for me, listen, unless you want to, I would never advise anyone to steam into a price around the 1.62 mark, which is the best price currently we're seeing in the streets. But what I would suggest is, I think if you're looking for an accumulator builder, I don't personally like the lunchtime games. Don't like the start of the season if you're betting on too much. But what I would say is you can't see past United really from the obvious point of view. If you're looking for a slightly more exotic bet, perhaps people will go for overs. I know that's been very popular last year and probably will continue to be popular. You're looking at about 45 for over 2.5 goals. Is that something that you might have a play on a bit more interesting?
No, I'd be a bit worried about that one personally, just in case that 2-0 scoreline stands out to me a wee bit, which is the first day of the season. Come the 70th minute mark, if it's 2-0 Man U, I do wonder if they'd maybe just turn it down a notch and just try and play the game out a bit. With Tottenham playing this week, I do think tiredness might affect them as well. So if come the end of the game, Tottenham are looking a bit wary. I wouldn't expect Man U to go for the kill. I think they'd maybe just accept the 2-0. But I think the only one bet I wrote down here is Rooney to score first at 4-1. I'm not saying I'm going to back that, but I think he's the most likely goal scorer. He scored in the last friendly, he scored the first goal.
Depends on your view, doesn't it? A lot of people will take that and go, well, like if I'm confident Rooney is going to be playing up front for Manchester United this season, Van Gaal's indicated. I know plenty of people mentioning Portugal pre-season is a good value bet each way for the Golden Boot. I would hesitate a little bit because if United go and sign a big name striker, Rooney quite easily drop back. But for this game in particular, to my mind and probably yours, if you want each way bet to nothing, 4-1 is a fair price about Rooney. We better just touch on the other English striker that people talk about, and Harry Kane. Big year for him. Do you possibly think it's going to be, I suppose, like a music artist's second album, that difficult second season of being properly in the limelight could affect him?
I don't know. It's a really tough one to call. One thing I do notice, though, is popular time of the year for Fantasy League, and there's not many people with him in their lineups, which I think people have forgotten that he scored so many goals in the league last season or something. But he's still been finding the net pre-season, in fairness to him. A couple of them have been really good goals and good individual strikes and that, but I do worry a wee bit, and I don't think the Euro Under-21 Championship would have helped him. The friendlies, he's been dragged all over the world with Tottenham. I do worry that he's going to need a break sooner or later. That does concern me a wee bit.
Right, so we'll be going with Rooney to outscore Kane in this particular game. He's actually 5 to 6 to outscore him throughout the season, which I thought was an interesting bet and probably one I might have a little bit on. So that's possibly a longer term option for you. But I'm not going to ask you to know the colours of the mask, but we're going to probably both be going in for United winning the app. So at the moment, 74% of OLBG members are going for United win. Do you want to try and give us a little score?
I'll stick with my 2-0 gut instinct. I think it's going to be a boring game. It's not one that's got me overly excited, but like you said at the very start, it does usually throw up some crackers or some talking points. And we've got the new offside rule, so I think that could cause a few talking points on the first weekend.
Yeah, do you just want to clarify that, Jake? It has changed very slightly. Is this around the active, non-active side of things again?
Yeah, I've been trying to read about it, but I didn't really understand it until a couple of former referees tried to explain a wee bit in detail. And it's just that before, if they tried to get the ball and missed it and it went in, it was fine. It was still a goal because they didn't touch the ball. But now it would be deemed that he's tried to play the ball, and therefore he's involved in playing. I just hope all the linesmen are on the same page, otherwise we're going to have a bit of a bit of mayhem on the hands.
It could be nearly as good as the season when they suddenly outlawed tackling from behind, and I think there were about 3 red cards in the first 2 weeks, which was always a bit of a misadventure. But Gio, I want to thank you for your time on this particular hangout. You guys can subscribe to get more of these. We're going to preview every game, both of your teams, throughout the season. You can just come back to us and we'll be giving you tips throughout, both from OLBG members like Gio and also from the app as well. So unfortunately for Spurs fans, we're going for a Manchester United win. It's a short price on for your accumulators. Stay tuned and let's see if our predictions come in. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel for a bit more content similar to this. Thank you for watching.